Are you tracking your money? How do you know where it goes? Is it going to a place that you're not familiar with? Is it something that you pay meticulous attention to? Or maybe you ignore it completely? Are you tracking week to week, month to month? As an advisor, I have the ability to ask these questions on a regular basis, and the faces that I get can be unbelievably unique. Sometimes someone looks at you with pure shame, like, I know I should, but I just don't. And another time, someone will look at you and they're like, why would you ask? Of course I do. I track everything in an Excel spreadsheet. Here it is, right here. I brought it for you. I was ready. And it's so different from person to person, couple to couple. But the unique thing about tracking your money is really when I start getting into the questions and I say, okay, well, how much money do you make? And I'm going to use a nice round number. Some of you are going to say, oh, I wish I made that much. And some are going to say, I can't make that much. But $10,000, okay? You make $10,000 a month as a couple. That's net. And we often get in discussions of net versus gross occasionally as well when we're meeting with people, because they have to really think, because some people never see the actual gross amount. So let's say it's $10,000 net money that comes in. And then I ask this question and the faces drop. What are your bills? And people look at you like, I don't know. Most of the time, not some of the time, most of the time, people, especially when they've accumulated some level of wealth, they might not be tracking it anymore. They may not even be looking at it because they haven't had to. But when you ask them about their bills, they'll look at you and they'll say, I think the power bill's X and this is Y. And sometimes they're dialed in on the small ones, but they're not dialed in on the big ones. And so the best is when you finally come up with a conclusion and an agreement between the couple, and it might be $10,000 is coming in, $4,000 is going out. They're like, yep, $4,000. $4,000 gets all our bills, $4,000. And then you ask the question, where's the other $6,000 go? And they genuinely are lost. No clue. Now, if they're the meticulous tracker, then they'll say, oh, well, what do you want to know? Last month, I saw it go here, 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 here. They might pull out another page and slide it across the desk. But that's probably 10% of the time. 90% of the time, they're like, and we start working backwards. And we do the same drill. And it usually starts off with, what have we forgotten? What are some of the things you like to do? Oh, well, I golf. Well, he golfs. And he spends X on this. Or, she shops and it's not TJ Maxx. Whatever it is, the couples tend to have a lot of energy and it's fun, but there's missing money. And the point is, I then ask the big question, which we'll dive deeper into on a later topic, but are you helping your children out? And when I ask that question, usually it's like, oh, well, sometimes, but not often. And then we start diving in and it's probably a couple $1,000s a month they've been giving them, or $500 a month for this and $200 a month to that kid, or the cell phone bill still on your bill. The things that we find for that gap of what we would call discretionary money is very empowering. It's empowering to know, because a lot of people think they don't have money to invest. A lot of people think they're behind and they don't know how they're going to get ahead. A lot of people think that, they don't need to plan until they start to identify that gap, that discretionary income. And I think a lot of times people think advisors are in there to tell them they should stop spending or they should stop doing anything they love. No travel, no giving the kids anything. No, that's the opposite. We focus on life first, wealth second. The objective is to help you live your life better, but within the boundaries of the money you have coming in and or will have at one time. So, I challenge you to share. How are you tracking your money? It's not shameful. On these questions, we very rarely get answers. You know why? Because your finances are extremely private. And most people will not share. They won't tell you whether they're doing this or not. They don't want anyone to know. This is not Facebook-worthy sharing. This is not LinkedIn-worthy sharing or YouTube or any channel that we're on, because there's a perceived ignorance that you should know what's happening. You should know where your money's going. And the truth is, Yeah, it's really important if you need to know. Some of you don't need to know, and I appreciate that. But I can tell you that if you're measuring it, it matters. So I would encourage you to take the time to measure that gap. What is it? How are you doing it? What are the software programs you're using? Are you using Mint? Are you using a program with your credit card company? Are you using debit cards? How are you tracking? Share with us below if you have the gumption to do it, because I'd love to know how you're tracking, what's working, and maybe how you're managing that gap. Thanks for joining me, and I can't wait to see your answers.